There are two new coordinators in Detroit, and we just got the chance to hear from both John Morton and Kelvin Shepard in Indianapolis for the Combine. I'm joined by Detroit Football Network's Justin Rogers. We got to have a little intimate gathering with both coordinators, and they gave us their vision for the future of Detroit Lions football. Let's start with Kelvin Shepard first. What stuck out to you immediately when he's talking about his influences and all of the workload that Aaron Glenn, who's since moved on to the Jets, put on Shep's plate to prepare him for this position?
What stood out is he's ready for this, and he's ready for this because the Lions have prepared him for this role. You know, this is a 2-year process, as Dan Campbell said, that 2 years ago, he's always believed in Kelvin Shepard. He is the one that told Aaron Glenn to interview Kelvin Shepard. And then 2 years ago, he saw coordinator potential in him. He said, how can I get more out of him? AG, give him more work. 2 years ago, it was the blitz packages. Last year was first and second down. And so he's seen the bigger picture of the defense, preparing him for this role while seeing it through AG's eyes to keep that continuity going forward.
A big word that Shep used was simplify, but he also wants to multiply. He wants to make it really difficult for offenses when the ball is snapped, and then have it on the defensive side where they're not thinking at all and they are attacking and playing fast. How is he going to bring that out of these guys?
Yeah, one of the big things he does with his room that I think will extend to the entire defense is he teaches them from a conceptual standpoint. Why is the word he uses. Why are we doing this? And so it's not just knowing your individual assignment through the play. You know the entire defense, what they were trying to accomplish within the play. You know what all your teammates are doing within a play. And so therefore it all makes sense for why the play call is made. And he expects his linebackers to be able to call the game the way Aaron Glenn called it, the way he's going to call it. And I think that's going to slowly proliferate through the entire defense. He wants them all to understand why he's calling a play in the situation he's calling it.
Shep wrapped up his playing career in 2019 with the Lions. You
crazy.
were covering him then.
I was.
Is it insane to think now that he is the DC?
Oh, it starts aging you a little bit, but you know, that's how it goes, right? And this is certainly Dan Campbell's MO. He is bringing in players that have that knack for teaching and bringing the best out of other players and allowing them to tap into their potential as coaches. And we've seen, you know, some of the other coaches go on to bigger and better roles. We saw Hank Fraley get promoted this year. We see Randall L going into a bigger role as assistant head coach with the Bears. And so, you know, this just kind of fits what they do with developing coaches.
Offensively, John Morton, new offensive coordinator, is homegrown. He's from Michigan. He is described as maniacal, a perfectionist.
Maniacal.
He just told me we're going to make sure that we can hear him in practices. He wants everyone to hear it. He said he loves the process leading up to the game.
Yeah.
How much does that ease anyone's mind when an OC says that they enjoy that part of it?
Yeah, I think that was my big takeaway, right? Like the obsessive nature of film study, of problem solving. And, you know, I look at it like a player, right? If the practice and the week of preparation is the hardest part of your week, the game should be easy. And look, there's going to be questions he has to answer. You know, 2017 was his only coordinator experience. He did not have a roster that was at the level of this roster. He did not have a coaching staff that he picked. They didn't have the communication or the continuity. So he's inheriting a far better situation, but he still has to answer the question of whether he can take all these beautiful pieces that he has and construct a great offense the way Ben Johnson did. But he was here for the building of that offense. John Morton was. And so, you know, I think there's a strong level of belief that with the pieces they have, with his understanding of the offense, with his understanding of the quarterback being the heartbeat of the entire thing, that this thing can continue to produce at a high level.
Do you expect any drop-off offensively? Bringing in a new OC who's calling the plays, but like he said, he is a kid in a candy store with all the weapons he has.
It's really, really difficult to think anybody could screw this up. I mean, it is. The offensive line is outstanding. You know, they've got a few pieces maybe they got to address this offseason, but you have arguably the best offensive tackle in the game. You have one of the best centers in the game. You have a all-pro wide receiver. You have an unbelievable backfield tandem that's not only the best in the game, but arguably one of the best ever. You have a quarterback that's efficient. You have a speedster in Jamison Williams that's coming. Like, the weapons are unbelievable. And so how do you screw this up? And when you get a guy that seems to be as detail-oriented as John Morton is, you have a hard time believing that it'll fall off.